Yes, Sales Sheroes. We are so excited to be here at another podcast. So welcome to another episode of Sales Sheroes, where we champion the powerhouse women in sales. I'm Angie Gonzalez, your co-host with my amazing bestie, 15 years, LaDonna Hale. We're going to jump in today into the world of customer relationship management. So really nurturing long-term connections. LaDonna, how are you this week?
I'm so great. It's kind of fun to be like at the end of the first month of the year, just, kind of assessing where things are at and where I need to like put some time and energy. Like I really recognize that after getting through the first of, getting through January. So I'm good.
I
thanks.
know. I love it. That's awesome. I know it is kind of nice to know that we're already like, oh crap, we're already 1 month into the sales year, but it's like, where did that last month go? But it's fine. It went really, really fast. Oh, good. Well, I'm super excited. I mean, I am super passionate about this topic, customer relationships, building them, nurturing them. So I was excited when we discussed having this be our topic today. So, all right, for all of our Sheroes out there, why are customer relationships so important? We're going to talk about that. So, building relationships is definitely the secret to successful business. The more that we invest into our customers and the relationships with our brands, the bigger return on investment that I think we're going to have, or I know we're going to have. So in this age of e-commerce, digital selling, where everything's coming at you and at our customers, taking the time to really build these connections, it is trickier than ever to do, which makes this game super high stakes because you're competing against every bot, every internet connection, everything coming at our customers. So this is why it's so important, I think, to make sure that we're talking to our Sheroes about building customer relationships.
Absolutely. There's like such a huge need for this. I mean, really, do you want to sell to someone that you have a relationship with, or do you want to sell to someone that doesn't have any knowledge of you? So there is so much information coming at you on a regular basis. And for me, why would we bother to build customer relationships? Why would we take the time? Why would we want to infuse relationship into our selling process? And it's really a number of things, but like high level overview would be to enhance loyalty. When when they're loyal, they keep coming back to buy from you. So building loyalty, even if you're not selling to them right now, but you're building relationship so that at some point you can serve them with something that you have an answer to a problem, right? If we're in sales, we're answering a problem. You can't always just answer someone's problem immediately. Oftentimes we don't even know what the problem is. So it's a lot easier to do that if you have a loyal relationship with someone. It reduces like the churn. It's way easier for us to retain an existing customer. And I love this one. I had a sales trainer a number of years ago. I was working for a floor covering dealer, and I was a project manager managing construction projects. And I was brand new in that field, like in that portion of doing my job. And so I was learning a lot, and I had a manager who really believed in investing and giving us training, which was really cool. I learned a lot working for that company for about 4 years. And he had a gentleman come in, Derek. I don't remember his last name, but he had prior worked in a pretty high-tech industry, and he had come out on his own to be a sales trainer. And he said, you really need to go deep and wide in organizations, but you have to start somewhere, right? So cultivating those relationships makes it easier for you to retain a customer. So if you can just build some kind of camaraderie in one position, then you go really deep into who the people are and asking for help, right? You can only do that when you're building relationship. Like who else is doing work that I can pull from that I might be able to serve them with a need. Trust is the glue. I love that so much. When you trust, they won't run away anytime soon. And, I mean, really, right? It's so true because in customer service, we can have problems. Like I just had a product that I ordered, and I ordered a custom for the stairs, and there was this white run, like about 20 feet into this custom, beautiful rug that's going into a really high profile theater. I mean, that's a bad look, right? A white run on a red carpet. I mean, it's a textile, so we can have problems, but if we build a trusting relationship, I got the problem sent to me by my customer. I reached out to my tech rep who helps me. We got an order turnaround that will have that new product to them in 2 weeks, which is unheard of with a custom flooring product. They just take longer than that. It's typically a 6 to 8 week turn, but I have a trusting relationship with that project manager who I got this project with. But then this is building an even stronger relationship because she just watched how fast we moved to correct the problem, because it's a textile and sometimes there are problems. So if we have trusting relationships built, then we can pivot faster, right? Then that's okay. Hey, yeah, if you do have a problem, Ladonna's going to help you. Her company's going to stand behind the challenge.
Yeah. And that's, I think, more the reason why we want to build up trust, because in sales, there's always going to be something that happens, right? The ball's going to drop somewhere, whether it's your doing or not. Something is going to happen at some point where your customer is going to be upset and they're going to come to you because you're supposed to be that, person that is the specialist in that field. And they're going to want to get it fixed. If you already work to establish trust in the beginning of meeting people, then when the shit hits the fan, so to speak, you can recover faster. I mean, for what I do on the tech sales side, for us, it's like breaches, outages. When our product doesn't work, we have a lot of people losing loss of revenue because they can't get back online to get their consumers online, their staff, etc. And so you have to be able to know that, okay, things are going to happen. But if that trust is in the beginning of that relationship build, you're going to be able to navigate it through more effectively, because you can be honest and say, okay, Bob, sorry, this happened. I've got you. I'm on it. And he's going to trust you enough to actually go do that. So I'm glad that you brought that up, because trust is the glue. It absolutely is. I think understanding the customers and really connecting with them is definitely going to turn into them being our biggest cheerleaders, right? So in sales, we kind of talked about this on one of our podcasts as well. Even though you're selling on a team with a company, or maybe you're by yourself, you're still by yourself. You're still competing with people against your number, they're with their numbers, and everyone's trying to sell the most. So having more people fishing and being your cheerleaders for you is huge. And so, it might take a bit of time to build up the trust, but it definitely would be a significant ability to have those happy customers, because I think the statistics were 80% of happy customers will spend more than the grumpy ones. And we all get occasionally grumpy customers out there, or at least a little bit more, not pleasing all the time, if we have to be honest. But yeah, so, I mean, how do you handle grumpy customers? Now I just have to ask, I got to find out. How do you handle them? Yeah, just curious.
That's empathy, trying to understand where they're coming from, and then making an attempt at really uncovering why they're grumpy. I mean, some people are just grumpy, and I can shed my light. Here's another thing too. If you know your value proposition and you have a territory that's big enough and you work in an industry that you're allowed some freedoms, I don't necessarily spend a ton of time on the grumpy ones. I get them occasionally, but I kind of know who I don't want to work with. And I'm blessed enough at this day and age to be working a territory for a company that allows me some freedoms. I can spend a lot less time with a happy customer than I would spend on someone who's notoriously always cranky. Right. And so I just I cherry pick also, which I think that's important. You can do this with your customers as well as your companies. I want to say this. I've worked for a number of different companies in my career, and there have been some that I've made fast, hard pivots out of because I saw that they wouldn't allow me to handle my customers appropriately if they were grumpy or if it was a problem, right? Because oftentimes when someone's grumpy, it could be personal, it could be all the other things. But if they're grumpy with me, they're grumpy generally because there's a problem, there's a challenge, there's something that needs to be overcome. And I can overcome easily. I mean, we have less than 1% claims ratio in my company. That's very, very, very low. I made a choice to come to this company for that reason. That's one of the reasons. So you may be working somewhere that isn't aligned with your value proposition, where you can't meet your customers in a place that they can be taken care of. And that's when you're going to need to do some reassessment, and maybe you need to make a pivot in your career. I think that's important to talk about. You don't have to stay somewhere that doesn't allow you to work within your value proposition. So that's kind of a long answer to dealing with someone that's grumpy.
No, but that's good, because you're not going to self-serve. You're not going to be self-serving yourself or your customers if you're not happy with where you're at. So, in the tech world, we've got acquisitions having right, left, up, down. Acquisitions are constantly happening. And so there's times where I'm part of the company acquiring another company, or in this case, I'm the company being acquired. And you really do have to look at the value of, okay, will I be successful here so I can be successful for my customer, right? And truly give them all of me. And that really leads us into how do you build customer relationships. Like what do you do? And I think I go back to, I started working at 14 years old back in the 80s. So this is pre-digital everything. And so for me, I was taught by my stepdad in his restaurant, really good old school customer service. And so how I feel you really build customer relationships is good old fashioned, excellent customer service. You got to be quick, you got to be genuine, and you have to be empathetic, which is what you brought up too. I think that is the core value. I think we missed that along the way. Everybody's been so, like, you call a call center. They just want to hurry up, get you on, get you off, and then send you a survey. Well, did you really care what my problem was to address it? Because now I'm calling again because it's still not addressed. So I think that bringing back that old school customer service is at the top of the list for sure.
Yeah, I agree 100%. Like fast, accurate, authentic, honest customer service. It's huge.
Yeah. Yeah. Cause you can, I think, what do they say? You get more bees with honey than you do, vinegar. But the second part is understanding your customers' motivations, right? What makes them tick so you can meet their needs. At the end of the day, we're in sales. Without our customer, we wouldn't be in sales. So you have to be able to understand what's driving them. What in the tech world is what problems can I solve for them? What future problems can I solve for them? How much money can I save them? But if you're in an MLM, it might be what product would be best for that person. They might not need everything in your portfolio or your bag that we like to say, but they might need one or two. And so being honest about selling them and understanding their motivations. So you're not selling the whole gamut. If I walked in and said, here's our entire portfolio and it's only going to cost you like $5 bazillion, they're going to laugh me right out the door. But really being smart to research them and say, okay, here's what I think. What are you, talking to the customer and having that communication. So yeah. And after the motivation piece of what drives them, it's really building that emotional connection, being comfortable to ask the question of, hey, LaDonna, thank you for the time today. What really are you concerned about with your X, Y, and Z? And, maybe they'll be open to sharing those things with you. I know that it's kind of a taboo topic, emotions in business, right? Like people don't like to have that come in. But if you think about it, selling is human to human interaction, and humans are mainly driven by emotions. So you have to have emotions in your business. So you have to keep that emotional connection with the customer for sure.
Yeah, I love that. I think consistency is key. Customers should know what to expect and what you can deliver, like, really building on that trust factor. I love what you said. I want to think about this for a second because I had it in my head and I'm like, I want to articulate this correctly. So you talked about speaking to the need, right? To the need of the customer. I think this is really important. And I just kind of had this aha when you said that, like reminder, right? It's really, I used to in my past, and I've had a lot of leadership that has coached this. Always go in with something, always be ready. Like you're always ready to sell them something, right? And you can now do a lot more research than in my earlier days in sales to kind of find out more about the client that you're calling on. So you may think you have some answers based on what you find online, but until you sit down with someone and you bring some emotion to the table and you ask questions, I think this is so important. And I think that this is not coached enough, is to have some, like, I know that I have some very set people that I call on. I may be calling on a facilities manager. I may be calling on an interior designer. I may be calling on the end user for a municipality, like a government building or a prison or whatever, right? So for each of those different people that I might be calling on for the first time to possibly do some business with, I know what kind of open-ended, not yes or no questions, but what kind of open-ended, I have kind of a script in my mind now. Thankfully, I have a lot of years of sales. In my mind, I go in with kind of a set of open-ended questions, things I want to uncover during that first meeting. And I don't bring a bunch of product in anymore. I had a great sales manager for 10 years who really, almost 10 years, he really taught me, you don't know the answer yet. So if you feel more comfortable having one thing in your bag of tricks or a few things in your bag of tricks that you go in with because you need to have something in your hand, that's fine. But be prepared to schedule the second meeting to answer the
Right.
needs of the questions, right? Like, I think that's really
Yeah.
important. And you can move that along quickly, but you can't move it along at all if you don't know the questions and don't kind of spend some time and put some like forethought into the client that you're going to be calling on. I mean, you may be in sales where you call on the same client every single time. So this will be really easy for you because you're going to go in and ask the same questions, but really building a relationship as quickly as you can authentically with that person and discerning whether there's someone you want to do business with. And if there's even a need right now for you to do business with them. I just want to touch again just quickly on like authenticity and handling challenges quickly and being really good at being effective at fixing a problem if there's a problem or a challenge that comes up. Those are so key: fast, accurate, authentic, honest customer service. I do think, I don't think, I know, like I just had I'll just say this, I had the best experience. I bought 2 cars now from a gentleman named Scott Hayes that owns Hayes Auto in Eugene. Yes, huge plug. I personally always drive a used car because I drive the crap out of my vehicles. I run them into the ground, quite literally. They're filled with samples. I have a dog. I'm kind of a mess in my car. So I want something that is, I always like a hatchback because I can get a 4-cylinder all-wheel drive hatchback and like pack a ton in there. So anyway, I just bought a new used car. And I literally was like, hey, Scott, this is what I want. He's been looking for a few months. He sends me one. It was the best customer service I have ever had. He's like, hey, I have your paperwork. Can I run out? He came to my house so I could sign my paperwork. He had the car ready so that my daughter could pick the car up. Like, my time is really limited. So I just want to, like, he went above and beyond to find me what I wanted because he didn't have it on his lot, to have me do my paperwork so easily, to help me. This one has a small loan on it, to help me get a really good credit union loan. Like, it was just, the whole thing was like the most blessed experience. And it's because we kind of understand each other. I had bought another car from him. I had said, he runs really fast and really hard. He runs a used car dealership. He's really great. He's married. His wife works with him. Like, he's so cool. He's also in recovery like me. Like, we are moving fast a lot.
You
like,
bonded emotionally, right? So
emotionally.
he did his job right by, when you came in the very first time, getting to know you as his customer, and then what makes you tick, right? You were the customer. So he did all the things that we're mentioning. He wanted to see what made you tick, what motivates you. And then he leaned on that to say, okay, I'm going to build my relationship up with her because she's going to come back if I give her great customer service. And that is great because that's the enhanced loyalty you just talked about, is making sure that they come back, which will reduce your churn, which keeps them coming back for more of your product or your service. And, that it's an interesting thing. So I've been in tech sales now for a while, and I worked for multiple different companies, and there are a handful of executives across the nation that I have built up a relationship with, that even though I don't sell that product or work for that company originally where I met them, I can call them up today and have lunch. We can talk about security trends. It is so crucial about that, because if I never would have taken the time to listen, or if I just went in word vomited, here's all my stuff, how can we help you? Here's how much it costs. Let's start tomorrow. I was an aggressive seller. I really, really was when I first started, because I didn't know any better. And to your point, there's not a lot of leadership guidance around proper selling techniques. They're like, here's your quota, here's your product, go make it happen. Don't talk to me until you have it done. Right? Well, that's not reality. Because you're exhausted, they're exhausted, and we got to get through the finish line together. So I think, that's why I love selling so much. Someone asked me the other day, why are you in sales? And my answer is always the same. I love people. Like, I genuinely love people. I want to know about them. I want to learn from them. I want to share with them what I've got going on. And so for me, I thought, okay, I could do this job because I genuinely like people. Now, let me correct myself. Not all people, because some people are not nice. And so then you have to pivot, right? When you get the ones, but at the same time, you also have to learn how to deal with complicated customers, because to your point, if you can get on the emotional point and really learn their need of why they're upset or frustrated, every time I've taken the time to learn from a customer, I mean, I've sat down and said, closed my laptop and said, we came in with a presentation today, but we're not going to do that. We're just going to shut up and we're going to hear from you what's working and what isn't. Mm-hmm. And they don't really know what to do with themselves because most vendors don't really come in and handle it that way. They're trying to sell. But until we know what their problem is, you can't fix it. And then when you can fix it, you look like a rock star, and our Sheroes can, we want them to be empowered rock stars. Then the shift turns on those negative customers or clients, right? I don't know if you've ever walked in and a customer's been like, oh, it's you. I don't need your product. And you're like, how do you know who I am? And how do you even know what product I have, right? Like they already judge you before you come in the building. Has that happened to you on the flooring side?
Yeah, totally. I mean, people have relationships with other people. I mean, I just took over a territory that's new for me, Portland. I mean, there was a rep doing a really great job here prior to me, but I'm like uncovering where he's done work and I'm uncovering new people to do work with. And yeah, I've had people that like, no, I mean, I had someone just the other day. She's like, apologies. No, I've never really heard about your product. And I was like, well, let me tell you, are you ready to learn? Like, let's find out if there's a need. And she does high-end residential and some commercial, but it's really specialty commercial. So I do have some products that fit a need for her, but my husband has product lines that fit a need for her even greater. So it was like, and then like she had a question. This is something that happened with this because this is a new relationship. Then she messaged me and said, I think I have a project that you can help me with. Well, it's a roller rink and a bathroom situation. I don't really have a product that fits that very well, but I referred her to two manufacturers who I love. Like I have some friends that work for both of these manufacturers. They have this rolled good products that's absolutely much better than what I have. And she was so impressed that I referred her forward and didn't just try to sell her something. I have some products that could possibly work, but they're most likely they will fail over some time.
Right.
So, I mean, it's like, it's that being authentic. And yes, I've had it happen. Like she doesn't know, but then we're slowly building this relationship, right? This is over about a month period of time. Like I've had some conversation. She brings me into a project. I don't have quite the right fit. I genuinely refer her to products that I think will be exceptional for her in this situation. Do you think that she will trust me now to come back to me when she does have something that she feels like will fit? Likely, right?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah. And I think that's what it's about.
And that comes back to like when you're networking, it isn't always about you. Networking is about what you can do for others. And we talked about serving other people because by you saying to that woman, I don't really have anything that could probably help you, but let me recommend some people that I know their product will be great for the project you're working on. That's credibility fast. Like that's a fast track to that. And then now you're that trusted advisor for her where when she's going to go, oh, well, I'm going to call Adana about XYZ. And now you're going to be in the know with all the projects she's got going on, over time as she learns about you. And that is huge. I think I'm so proud of you for doing that, honestly, because not too many people, I think in sales, we can be so cutthroat that we're like, well, I know Barbara over there, but I'm not going to refer them because, I don't want her to get that sale. That is not it. There is enough business for everyone in this world. There is enough customers. There is enough product. There's enough time for everyone to pay it forward. Yes. And I guarantee you this, it will come back. It will come back. So it's okay to let it go. So I'm so glad you shared that with us because I think that is very crucial in building good, solid customer relationships because now she's going to go to tell people, oh, you should call Adana Hale. And now you're going to start getting other people calling you off of just being kind and with that one lady. Mm-hmm. I mean, it's a ripple effect for sure.
It is.
Well, yeah. Well, let's share some steps to enhance customer relationships with our Sheroes. Listen, you guys, I struggle with listening. So I talk about that sometimes. I'm so excited to talk all the time. So for me, I've got to just shut up and listen, period. And customers drop hints all the time, right and left. As soon as you walk in the door and say, hi, Bob, I'm Angie with so-and-so, start listening because his grumbling all the way to the conference room of where you're going to meet and da-da-da-da-da, he's going to drop nuggets. So pay attention and collect that valuable data, right?
Yeah.
I think at your point also create that emotional human connection. You nailed it. Show empathy. So personalized interactions is what I do. I'll tell you what I do, then I'd love to get your feedback on that.
Yeah.
When I meet people, I always try to bring something for them, swag from the company or something like that. Or if I've done my research and I heard that they're a sports fan or something like that, then I get a little swag because I have a flexibility in my sales career to do that financially. Not everybody does. But I think personalizing the interactions that you have with your customers is so key, because that will help you build the emotional side of things. When, like you mentioned a minute ago with your car salesman gentleman, it's like you know everything about his family. He knows everything about your family. That is so personal, right? Like I know a lot of people are like, don't overshare your life. Well, there's some things that you want to overshare, right? Like you're proud of your family. He's proud of his family. You're proud of being sober. He's proud of being sober. Why would you not talk about that? And now you have a joint connection, right?
Yeah.
So do you do a lot of personalizing interactions from not just a verbal of knowing their family, but do you also do it in like swag and gifts and stuff like that when you meet customers or are building the relationship?
Yeah, I do. I like to be hospitable. I like to go in with something. And so if I haven't had time to figure out what it is that person might enjoy, then I might do like a little, even if it's like a small group or like one person, like maybe a little mixed, like kind of treat, like maybe charcuterie with some healthy snacks. And then also like a small cookie, like cute, something fun. That's like, thank you for taking the time. I try to ask before I go, hey, are you a coffee drinker? If it's a morning appointment, hey, like I'll try to kind of glean when I can, if there's something that I can bring. We have these cute little J&J coffee mugs. They're like the wine tumbler kind of ones, you know, like you can use it multi-purpose. And I'll just throw some candies in there in my business card and take those. Sometimes I'll do like a little mixer if it's someone I know likes, you know, if I know for sure the person is a whiskey drinker and loves whiskey and Coke, I'll do like a mini Coke and a whiskey. And I'm a non-drinker, but I still like to support my people that I have healthy relationships with that. And that's something that they would like and enjoy. So yes, I mean, golf balls and some golf swag if it's someone that I know golfs. I mean, so I try, like we do these fun Christmas socks at Christmas. And so I did some Christmas socks at Christmas, like whatever it is, but I like to not go in empty handed as far as like gift for them taking the time. And it doesn't have to be something huge. It could just be like thoughtful and small, just a little treat for their day. Right.
And you can even make it, but I love how you say that you try to secretly check with them first what they like, because I used to actually get our company logoed on little miniature, like 3-inch cookies. And then I would take these little cookie platters out. I kind of was like dubbed the cookie lady. And this was back when I could go stop by people's offices pre-COVID, and they all were in the office. So I would take these cookies on a little tray and I was so excited. Everybody loved them. I had great feedback from it. And I always helped to be kind of like, oh, you're the cookie lady. Yeah, we'll get a meeting with you. Let's hear what you have to say. Only one time out of, I don't know how many dozens of cookies I did, only one time did I get negative feedback where an executive I emailed like, hey, hope you got the cookies I brought. Sorry that I missed you. Would love to reconnect. He said, I can't believe, like he blasted me. I can't believe you brought cookies. How dare you? We're all on a program. We're all eating healthy. We threw them in the garbage. And then I took offense to that pretty quickly, but then I went, okay, wait. His problems are not my problems, right? First of all, so I can't take ownership of their problems, first of all. But I was bothered at first, like, man, those are really good cookies. He threw the whole thing in the garbage. So then I thought, okay, I need to acknowledge and I need to pivot. So I acknowledged, I am so sorry. I was not aware, like own it, right? I was not aware. I'm very sorry. I will make sure to make a note of that for any future deliveries. And of course, the very next week I delivered a big fruit basket. I was like, well, you can't go wrong with a big fruit basket, right? Everyone's on a good eating program. But that's just also like, you can personalize it. They're not always going to like it, but you have to pivot, right? To do something else. I think I was more upset that all of that tray of cookies went in the garbage than anything else. I'm sure some people ate them, but yeah. So anyways, we'll get back to our steps to enhancing customer relationships. But yeah, I think, that comes back to outside of the emotional human connection is really that trust factor. I think that is first and foremost. Consistently meeting the customer's expectation is going to build us that lasting trust relationship. That whole under promise, over deliver, that really rings true. Don't promise something you cannot back up. I've done that as well in my career. So it doesn't yield anyone, and it doesn't do anyone any favors. But, what do you think about that?
Yeah. I mean, developing trust is one of the, I think, largest things you need to do. I mean, you need to have integrity in sales. And I see people that don't. I see successful people who don't. My personal opinion, because it's a big value proposition for me, is authenticity and integrity. So I mean, it's easy for me to build trust with people because I feel like I show up pretty integrous. And I think that's an incredibly important value virtue for a sales rep.
I agree 100%. And that comes into rewarding loyalty, right? When you get the customer and you have them, how do you keep them? It's like, for me, I'm constantly asking, do they like to go to dinner? Do they want to go golfing? All of those things, not even me to go with them, but can I support your team event? Can I support a lunch and learn for you? And just really rewarding them for the loyalty. A please and thank you, believe it or not, in sales goes a long way. And you would be surprised how many people don't say please and thank you. But really encouraging that give and take approach as you're building the trust with the customer and asking, hey, LaDonna, what do you expect out of this relationship? I want to make sure that I'm on point for you. It always is the same to come back and say, what can I do for you? And also, here are my expectations of how I can better serve you. I think we don't voice that enough. Everyone's dancing around the customer sometimes. Like, don't say that. Don't push them. Don't say anything that's going to, make them mad. But if you can't set your own expectation as well of what you're going to expect from them, then they're not going to know and they're going to disappoint you all the time. So encouraging that give and take approach, recognizing loyalty definitely will foster that stronger relationship. And the last one, creating value. I'll let you speak to that one because I know that that's so important as well.
Yeah, it's super important. I think that the best and easiest and fastest way to create value is to really ask the questions, to uncover the need. And then when you get offered a chance to provide an answer to what their need is, go above and beyond. Especially like if it's a first order situation. I mean, my manufacturer that I work for is right by Atlanta, Georgia, and I'm on the West Coast. And so tracking and making sure their product is going to get to them in time, that's a huge piece of me creating value. So just go the extra mile, be the person that just goes above and beyond. And then also like knowing what your value proposition is, know what you will and won't do allows you to create more value, right? Like when you know what is important to you and then you uncover the needs, like everything that we've said, like uncovering the needs of your customers, when you get given the opportunity to service that customer, create so much value that they're not going to think about going somewhere else. That's what Scott did for me. Like, right. I've had sales trainers ask me that. Think about the last time you had a really good customer service interaction. I can tell you honestly that the interaction with him now with this car I just bought and the interaction with him a few years ago when I bought my other used car, when was that? Like 2 years ago, the Range Rover,
right.
Like 2 years ago. That's the best customer service I've had in a very long time. Like I couldn't even like pull anything else out of the air that was like really exceptional and great. So in saying that, I buy things a lot. Like, I mean, I am a consumer. I mean, sometimes more than I should, but I can't. Oh no, another exceptional would be what we just talked about. Angie just had a facial. I've had a couple of facials at Ruby's Spa. I've had a couple of facials and they go above and beyond.
Yeah.
They go above and beyond. So, but it's like a handful over the last few years that I can even tell you. So in saying that, it doesn't matter how small the item is that you sell. When you create value, you will create loyalty because I will forever buy my used cars from Scott unless he decides to do something else.
Yeah. Right? And I think that's where we've seen a shift in corporate companies, right? We are all consumers. And so making sure that even these corporate companies are going back to that really good quality customer service experience, that's what's going to keep us consumers coming back. And so everything is, because we can buy everything in the snap of a finger, that is what I think is going to make everyone. So, you look at Amazon, they make things more quick and efficient for you to buy, for things to come to your house. They give you notifications via text, via email of your purchase. All of those things, yes, it's large in Amazon, but all of those things make every one of us come back to Amazon because we get it fast. It's inexpensive. We know where it's coming from. And so that's huge, right? And I don't see them going under anytime soon. So I think giving the customer an experience that makes the value locked on hard so they can't come back is huge. And by the way, thank you for commenting on my facial. I'm very proud of my glowy skin today.
You look very beautiful. You look very beautiful.
Listeners, I have not had a facial in 51 years of my life, and I went for the first time. If you have not gotten a facial, I could not afford it, but that was my small win to myself for the business that I closed last month, was to treat myself to a very small facial. So we talk about celebrating wins, how big, how small. That was my treat. So if you're running or driving, please don't look at the camera. We don't want you to wreck or crash into a tree, but I have very glowy skin today and I'm very happy about it. So anyways, getting back to our customers, but to your point, those customer experiences are going to provide the value, and, a happy customer becomes a brand advocate. And so that is free word of mouth marketing. For example, we just gave a shout out to Scott on a used car lot for Eugene, Oregon, that maybe those listeners would be like, well, LaDonna had a great experience. I'm going to reach out to him. So we don't get plugged for anything, but if you reach out to Scott, let him know that LaDonna sent him your way. But I think that free marketing for your business is so valuable because, again, they buy from who they like, know, and trust. And so that lady that you referred her to other people is always probably going to trust to come back to you. So I'm super excited about that too. I know that positive reviews, I don't always take the time to write a positive review. And I'm in the technology world. A lot of our reviews that we're reading online are bot created. I hate to burst your guys' bubble, but bots sometimes create, right? Electronically, AI is creating some of those reviews that we're reading. And so they're not always accurate. So trusting that human to human emotional connection, asking people, networking with people, that is going to continuously help you build that customer relationship. So yeah, LaDonna, you want to take us to a close here? I think we kind of touched it. I'm excited about it. And if people have more questions about, sorry to interrupt you, if people have more questions about customer relationships, or if you have troubled relationships that you're not quite sure how to turn around from, message us on our Instagram page. And we're happy, we do these little, private messages out to people that are having some issues with going on in their sales world. We're happy to answer your questions around that too. If you just have something you can't quite get past, we're happy to see if we can help you. You're not alone out there.
Yeah, totally. It's a commitment to excellence, empathy, and understanding. We're here to help support you in that journey. So here's to a journey of greatness in customer relationship management. May your efforts not only elevate your customer satisfaction, but also contribute to your overall success. As Angie said, we're here to totally support you. Until next time, stay empowered and keep conquering those sales goals.